Hello and welcome to Adri's Creative Corner, where we talk about all things Adri. Today's topic, Overcoming Obstacles 101, Episode 5, Take 2.
Wow, what a fresh, exciting way to introduce our podcast. As per usual, I will be here to ask the hard-hitting questions. In case you forgot, my name is Christian, aka Love Christian. The first question we have is, what are some obstacles you have faced on your journey, and how have you overcome them? To clarify, you can discuss any personal or even professional obstacles, whatever you feel that listeners can relate to the most.
Oh, that's a really good question. So I'd like to start with photography. You know, looking back at my photos, they pretty much make me cringe. I kept practicing and I ate and slept and breathed photography 24/7 to get to where I'm at right now. And I know that there's always room for improvement, and I'll continue to get better with time.
I heard that. Ate, slept, breathed photography. I did the same thing with music. I had many late nights, many auditions, both in-state and out-of-state. All failed, by the way. I spent every last bit of my free time really refining and perfecting and evolving musically.
I definitely remember the YouTube days when you first started. But another obstacle that I'd like to talk about is our mindsets. You know, I'm also a human being, and I'm learning how to break cycles of negativity and working on having a better relationship with myself, having more positive thinking and affirmations to work on. I also have a list to go to that brings me joy. And I always love watching New Girl to get in some laughs if I'm having a down kind of a day. And also having an accountability partner is also super, super helpful.
Yes, as I think we've mentioned in previous episodes, we're each other's accountability partners. Literally, anytime we are having a down day, typically the other one is not feeling so bad. We sort of switch. I don't know. It's like we're synchronized in that way, and we are able to lift the other up whenever needed. And I do feel so grateful to have that. I know that I can always count on Adri to lift me up when I need it, and vice versa. She knows that she can count on me and that I'm reliable, thankfully. Other things that I do the same thing. Literally, Adrian and I do the same things when we're feeling down. We fill our days and fill our time with things that make us feel good. We try to laugh more. We try to shift our focus from the negative to the positive. We try to remind ourselves constantly that the best is still yet to come and that everything we want is on the other side of fear. So we do a really good job at keeping the focus on those really good, pleasant things so that we're able to move forward more effortlessly after we process whatever negative feelings we're going through at the time.
You know, I'm going to be honest here. Today and the last few days, I've really been feeling it and going through emotions. And yesterday I kind of felt like I shut down like my emotions, and I definitely was working on the things that I needed to work on, listening to a lot of coaching from Roxy Talks to Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I even reached out to Christian today and I said, look, I know we know all the reminders, most of reminders, but I need more reminders. So he sent me a few videos and sent me encouragement, and it was super helpful. I did all the work that I needed to do, continuing to do so, and by the end of the day, I felt like my normal higher self again.
That was really honest, and it's just extraordinary that I'm sitting here looking at you and you're so able to express your emotions so freely, and that was not always the case. You know, we've known each other forever, and Adriana would never ever say what she was actually feeling deep inside. And these days, it's a lot easier for her. And of course, like she said, she's working on it. But I've always been pretty emotionally open on my end. And she hasn't always been able to receive that well. But now it feels as though we've really figured each other out and we are able to give each other what we need at the time. And I feel so lucky.
I'm so lucky to have you too, even though some days have not always been like this. So that brings me to the next topic that I have is, romantic relationships / friendships. So, going into romantic relationships, I've either been hurt in the past or being used, cheated on, abused mentally, physically, and verbally. I've been manipulated. And, I've been really low in the past, and I did not know how to work through emotions and mindset at the time. Well, this is kind of sensitive and not meant to trigger anyone, but I wanted to remind you that I'm also human. Maybe like 5 or so years ago, I almost ended my life. I had a plan and had everything written down. I had a note from my parents, and I told absolutely nobody that I was going to end my life. Coincidentally, my mom called off of work that same day I was going to end my life. And she wanted to remind me how much I am loved. And so I took it as a sign that there really are no coincidences, that everything happens for a reason. Even long relationships as well takes time and effort. Christian and I have had some fallouts, but we really have talked in depth and revisited the past and what had happened and really hashed things out to start a brand new chapter, and to not repeat those negative cycles. But I went to therapy and continue to do so. I have coaching sessions with Roxy Talks, and I can finally say that I have a relationship with myself, and I genuinely and honestly, I have a love for myself. I love me, and I don't think I could ever say that before. And I'm always working on communication and improving communication as well.
How am I even expected to follow that? Wow. Like, I am speechless. I'm sure listeners are speechless. Thank you for being so brave and sharing such an intimate part of your life with us. I'm just blown away by that, by your honesty. Speaking of self-love, I too have had an interesting self-love journey. Of course, growing up, I was told that everything I am, feminine, queer, etc., was wrong. I was told that there was something wrong with me, that I needed to be fixed. And I spent decades of my life trying to find the thing that would fix me, quote unquote. But I finally realized that there was nothing to fix. I'm perfect. I'm beautiful just the way I am. And yeah, I guess no one is truly perfect, in the sense that there's always room for improvement. I do understand that. But in terms of what makes me stand out, there's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm to embrace that. And I always encourage others to embrace the things that make them unique as well. And on the topic of mental health, I'm not sure that I've really shared this story publicly, but in 2014, I had one of my best friends die by suicide that year. And Adri actually just reminded me that the year that she planned to do it was the same year that I lost my other best friend. And I can't believe how close I was to losing two best friends in the same year. But of course, this experience has really shaped my life. I would say that I'll never be the same after that experience. I still maintain close contact with his parents, and I still think of them daily, and also my best friend. I'm actually in the process of making a song for my best friend who passed away, and I'll be releasing it on what would have been his 31st birthday. So Mental health really matters. I know I said this so much last episode, but it's so true, and it will continue to be true. It is literally everything, and it's okay to not be okay. But something that you need to do when you're not okay is you need to be honest about it, first to yourself and then to your loved ones, because your loved ones want to help you. So, gosh, that got really heavy, but this is so important, and I want everyone to know this.
Whoa, holy heck and bobs. I did not realize we were going to get deep again. I got teary-eyed when you started talking about Ryan, but it's crazy to see like how far we've come to, and you know he's always with you. But the other and the last thing I really wanted to talk about was religious trauma. In this specific religion that I grew up in, we were not allowed to have any sort of higher education. And at one point, I was going to a university, and I was told over and over again that I needed to live a simple life, and they all kept hounding me that I was not supposed to have any kind of a higher education.
Wow, the only simple life I know of is Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Shout out to them. They're iconic.
Okay. But I also was told so many times that I would not make it as an artist. And I did not realize that photography could ever be my business, where it does not even feel like a job. But here I am today to prove to mostly myself that anything is possible. And I'm here making big, bold moves, no matter what anyone has told me in the past.
Hearing that from you is making me think of all the times people have told me too, either with words or otherwise, that I wouldn't make it. But here I am as well. I've made so much progress. It's leaps and bounds, and I recognize yours as well. And I respect you so much as an artist, as an individual, for being brave and for stepping out and doing what you feel inspired to do. So thank you also for inspiring and motivating me by walking in faith and doing what you need to do to make your dreams happen. I feel so inspired to do the same. So thank you for shining bright and for being you.
It reminded me of that Rihanna song, Shine Bright Like a Diamond, Shine Bright Like a Diamond.
I love that song. That's a bop. Anyway, we gotta move right along. So, what specifically motivates you to keep moving forward when times get tough?
That is an excellent question. You know, recently I heard someone say to remember where you started and how far you've come, because at some point, the past version of myself wanted to be where I'm at today. Today was my dream.
I'm right there with you. I remember wishing, even like a year or two ago, that I could be where I am today as well. And it's crazy that once you really make that commitment to yourself, and once you decide that you want something, things just start to change around you so quickly, and you can never go back to where you were before. You won't ever want to do that again once you recognize your potential and once you see that through. And while we're on the topic of obstacles and overcoming tough times, I do want to remind everyone that we're able to see obstacles as not something standing in our way, but actually as an opportunity to learn something new. And we're always better when we get to the other side of whatever obstacle we think is in front of us. Which brings us to our final question of tonight's episode. What is one piece of advice you can share with fellow creatives when they feel stuck in a project?
I would say what I would normally do is take a break and walk away. Come back to it later. Meditate on it. You know, new ideas might come in during that time. And then when you're ready, go ahead and get back to it with a renewed mindset and a new perspective.
That was an excellent answer. I could tell that you speak from experience, but my piece of advice is this, and it may not be very fun, but don't be afraid to start over. My single that I'm releasing next month, I wrote almost 4 different times. So it's okay to scrap an idea. It's not a waste of time. Nothing is ever a waste of time in the creative process. Every second counts, even if the final product looks way different from how you originally imagined it to be. So don't be afraid to start over. And that concludes today's episode. If you have any questions, feel free to use hashtag Adri's Creative Corner.
Wow, this was such an exciting and another in-depth conversation. Stay tuned for next week, though. Next week, it's going to be pretty in-depth too. But until then, bye!